Today, we're going to unpack a huge shift that is already happening all around us in business, in tech, in the very way we work. It's called the intelligence inversion. And if you want to understand the next few years of AI, you absolutely need to understand this.
All right, so what is this intelligence inversion? Here's the deal. It's the exact moment we're in right now. It's when getting smart, high-quality work, think coding, analysis, customer support, from an AI becomes cheaper and faster than getting it from a person. And when that happens, everything changes. Your company's growth is no longer about how many people you can hire. It's about how much computing power you can get your hands on. And look, we have to be super clear about this. This isn't about getting a chatbot to help with your emails. This is a complete rewiring of our economy. The old rules for how you build and scale a business, they're being thrown out the window. A whole new playbook is being written, and today we're going to break down exactly how we got here, what the new rules of the game are, and where the real competition is going to be in this new world where intelligence is basically everywhere. Okay, so to really get a handle on where we're headed, we've got to look back at how we got here. And wow, has it been a whirlwind. The first 1,000 days of this new AI era really set the stage for, well, for everything. It's wild how fast this all happened. It really kicked off in late 2022. Boom, ChatGPT drops, and suddenly AI is a household name. From there, the dominoes just fell one after another. Early 2023, GPT-4 gives us the Copilot. Then just a few months later, the price to use these things plummets, and all those little experiments become serious business projects. And now we've got AI that can see and hear, and smaller, cheaper models that make the idea of a digital worker totally real. We've basically crammed a decade of progress into just a couple of years.
And check this out. A huge reason for this explosion is the growth in an AI's memory, what we call its context window. Think of it like this. Back in 2020, an AI could remember about as much as you would from a 1-hour meeting. Kind of useful. But today, the top models can hold the equivalent of months of human thought in their head at one time. That's a total game changer. It's not just about remembering facts. It's about understanding massive, complex projects from start to finish.
And all this amazing progress brings us to an economic reality that is just mind-blowing. The cost of the computing power for a digital worker, an AI that can do a full day's worth of thinking, is now less than a single dollar. Less than $1 a day. That is the economic jet fuel powering this whole intelligence inversion. So if intelligence is this powerful and this cheap, the old way of doing things is totally obsolete. Forget the hype about which AI model has the highest IQ. That doesn't matter. What really matters is building a system you can actually truly trust. And for that, you need a brand new operating model. So what does this new playbook look like? It's all built around a verification-first approach. Instead of just hoping the AI gets the right answer, you build systems that prove it. You define what correct looks like with automated tests. An AI agent only gets promoted to do real work after it passes all its exams, so to speak. You give it the absolute minimum permissions it needs to do its job, and you always have a kill switch. And, crucially, you build it all so you're not stuck with just one AI company. Basically, you treat trust as an engineering problem, not a matter of faith. And this comparison, man, this really shows you what a massive shift this is. We're moving from the old way, a human primary world where AI is just a little helper tool, to a new agent-first world. Here, the AI agents are the default workers. So what do? We get out of the weeds. We become the supervisors, the strategists, the ones who handle the weird edge cases. And success isn't about how many hours we work anymore. It's about how many verified correct outcomes the system produces.
So, in this agent-first world, how do you even know if you're winning? Well, you can't just go by your gut. You need cold, hard numbers, KPIs that your board of directors would look at. You start tracking things like verifier coverage, basically what percentage of the AI's work is automatically double-checked. You watch the escape rate like a hawk. That's the tiny number of mistakes that slip through. You measure the autonomy index, how much work is getting done with 0 humans involved. And you track things like your Sev1 MTTR, which is just a fancy way of saying, when something big breaks, how fast can we fix it? These are the numbers that prove your AI is actually working safely and effectively.
Okay, so we've got the new playbook, but what about the next 1,000 days? Well, once intelligence is everywhere, the whole game shifts again. The new bottlenecks, they're not about software anymore. They're about atoms. They're about the real physical world. This quote just nails it. Think about it. For the last century, capital meant money and factories. Now it means computing power. But what feeds that compute? What's the one thing it can't live without? Energy. Pure and simple. Power becomes the ultimate limiting factor.
And this chart really shows you the scale of the problem. A normal server rack in a data center might pull about 10 kilowatts of power, enough for a few houses. But a modern AI rack, we're talking 120 kilowatts or more. That's a whole different beast. It's a 12-fold jump, and frankly, our energy grids are already straining to keep up with this incredible demand. So here's the bottom line for this next era. The winners are not going to be the ones with the fanciest algorithm. Nope. The winners will be the masters of logistics, the ones who can find, secure, and efficiently use massive amounts of electricity. Your competitive advantage will literally come down to how much you pay per kilowatt for every correct answer your system generates.
But okay, let's just zoom out for a second. What's the real point of all this? Is it just about making businesses more money? No, it's got to be about more than that. It goes way deeper. It's about what we, as people, choose to value when intelligence is no longer scarce. And that brings us to this really powerful and, frankly, beautiful idea, the time dividend. This is about all the hours we get back in our lives, for customers, for employees, when we automate away all that tedious, soul-crushing work about work. You know, all the forms, the emails, the scheduling, the stuff we do just to be able to do our real jobs. The true promise here isn't just to do our work for us, it's to give us back the one thing we can never make more of: time. So if time is the new gold, maybe we need a new way to measure success. Imagine a world where the most admired companies have a flourishing balance sheet right next to their financial reports, a report that tracks how many hours they're giving back to people, how fair and trustworthy their systems are, how they're improving health outcomes, and how sustainable their operations are. This is how you connect all this amazing technology back to human well-being. And that really is what it all comes down to. For all of human history, high-level thinking was rare. It was precious. Now, it's becoming abundant, almost like air. So the big question, the one that's going to define this entire era, is this. When intelligence is everywhere, what do we decide is actually valuable? What do we choose to care about? That is the question of the intelligence inversion.